I'm here in the front of the new Lowndes County Court House. Its proper name is the Lowndes County Administration Complex. I'm here today to make a point and to ask a few questions. My name is G.B.R with kbci.blogspot.com. The question I want to ask: what will our children ask us? And what will we tell our children when they ask, Mama, Daddy, how much did it cost the taxpayers to build that building? How much money was generated from the poor, black, and white children's parents that they could use some of those dollars to help us to get an education? Did any black person or persons benefit from those red and black bricks, the glass, the cement, the mortar, the chairs? Did Raleigh pews benefit from the pews that are in the courtroom? Or did he even bid on that, Mama and Daddy? What subcontractor did the work on these buildings? Were any of them of the poor African American community, wherein the children don't have the money or the finances that they need, and so they become lawbreakers? When this building brought at least $500,000 or $1 million or $1.5 million or $2 million, how did constructing this building contribute to the disadvantaged people of our community? That's a valid question I think our children should ask. We should have an intelligent answer for them. In addition to that, what will we tell our children when they ask us, the parking lot over here, how much money was paid out through the taxpayer to get this parking lot paid? Did H&H Paving get any of these dollars? Since he are in the heartbeat of the community in Brooks County, there's a possibility he could have hired people that he know that needed a job. What will we tell our children? All this beautiful landscaping. Did blacks benefit? Did poor white people benefit from these works in the construction of this building? People want to talk about the crime rate and how blacks are filling the jails and prisons, but very few people in our nation today want to talk about the real issues that confront black folk. Nobody want to talk about the black issue. We'll talk about the Japanese, the Germans, the Mexican, the Jews in particular. We'll talk about the Arabs in the Arab world. We'll go into Iraq talking about weapons of mass destruction and use billions of dollars. And they seem to forget that Osama bin Laden said in several of his writings that I have record of, that he was going to break the United States in the same manner he broke the Soviet Union. And we fell right into that trap. And now we want to cut welfare, health care, daycare, night care, and everybody's care, but the military. And being in foreign countries where we're not even welcomed in the first place. As a retired veteran, this I know, because they didn't want us on the island of Japan, of Okinawa, Japan, when I was there. But yet, the good old boys, the power structure of yesterday, for 150, almost 500 years, have ignored the people at the bottom. And the wealthy keep getting wealthier. The weak, the peasants, going deeper into hell. So what will we tell our children? If this was the Iraqi war, if this building was the Iraq war, no, let's back up. If this building was World War I, Would black people be represented in it? If this was World War II, would blacks and poor white peasants be involved in it to benefit from it or reap illnesses, death, and destruction from that war or these wars? And if we can fight the wars but cannot get equal access or get some of the dollars that go into buildings such as this, then why should our children go fight in foreign wars? We gotta wake up today. Look at, if this was the Vietnam War, would blacks have a part in it? If this was the Iraqi invasion, would blacks have their fair share or overrepresentation in that war, in going into Afghanistan? Would blacks not have a fair share of the injuries and deaths in that war? Every war of this great nation, black African Americans have suffered. But when it comes down to the economic pie, just getting our fair share, the point is, too often we are excluded. And so the question that our children are asking, Daddy, Mama, when will this end? When will we be treated as all other people on this planet? Now, my name is George Boston Ryan. This is what I do. Before this building was constructed, I watched and I recorded Latinos in the back on the other side working. A lot of Latinos benefited from this building. But did they go into Vietnam for this war? Did they for this movement and the betterment of our nation? Were they in World War I, World War II, World War III for the most part? We know everybody played a part, but when it comes down to a fair, proportionate part, were they there? So now, Brother Ryan, you brought up some beautiful points, but what is your answer? My answer is this city and county must not take on the issue of including blacks into the contract. And if they have problems in their portfolio, they must find ways to include the children from the disadvantaged communities to get a part of this pie. Because without it, crime is coming to the suburbs. Crime, theft, burglaries is going to Cherry Creek. Soon it will be knocking on your door. It's all about the money. When you don't get the money, the children suffer. And so I just want to use this building as an example. But when you look at all the schools in the city and the county, we must ask, who did the construction work? Who did the drywall? Who did the plumbing? Who did the landscaping? Who put down the asphalt? Who did the pews? These are valid questions that we must ask, because they are valid questions. And our children need answers. Now, back to the schools. All these schools that are constructed, how many black African-American children benefited financially by the buildings of these buildings? We have black contractors here, and if we don't have the GCs, there are plumbers, there are electricians, there are carpenter men and women. Why weren't they included? And you may say, well, they didn't apply. Well, if they didn't apply, and if you go to church and believe in Jesus Christ, then you should want for your neighbor that which you want to have for yourself. So you should find a way, city, county governments, to include these people and acknowledge that behind the crime rate is a lack of money. Behind the crime rate is a lack of self-esteem. Behind the crime rate are parents who are locked out of a system and cannot find a job. Now, one more point before I close. At your convenience, this is another point. This is another point I want to make. When you get a chance, walk through these buildings and look in the offices and see who are mostly employed. The city is dominated by a majority black. But just take a look when you look in these buildings and see who are getting the dollars being paid a salary, and see who mostly is excluded. And while you're at it, walk over to the city annex. Stick your head in the doors on the first floor, the second floor, and in the basement, and see who is employed. See who are reaping benefits so their children won't have to sell drugs, won't have to break in convenience stores, etc., etc. Nobody has to, by the way. But Then go to City Hall and look and see who's employed and see who are not employed. Then go to other businesses in our community and see who has the jobs. And you might be able to tell why the crime rate is in disproportionate numbers for certain communities, because they have been closed out and locked out by a monopoly game that started with the foundation of this country. This is not a race thing, my beloved brothers and sisters. This is a truth thing. Very few people want to talk about the real problems. We want to sit back and criticize. But we always heard that behind everything that happened, there's a cause and effect. In other words, if I go out and kill my mama, there's a reason for me doing it. It might not make sense to you, and I may be mentally ill, but yet there was a reason. And so the question is today, why are our young people so hopeless? Why do they have no dreams of tomorrow? Why do they feel like they have been totally locked out of a system that don't work for them? Look at the school system. How many black educators do we have in the Valdosta City School front office? It is a disgrace. We only have 32 seats in the Valdosta Board of Education office up there. Even Quitman have 42. A little city like Quitman got more seats for citizens to sit than the Valdosta High School. Why is it that 15 citizens was arrested in City Hall May 5th, 2005, as if though they don't want to hear from the citizens of our community? And then a few weeks ago, then they pushed citizens to be heard to the end of the agenda by Mayor John Freddy, James Wright, Councilman Yost, Councilman White, Councilman Pate, Councilman Norton, Councilman Carroll, and Councilman Vickers. And yet, we in this community, the voices of the people, the voters, are silent. I want them all voted out of office. Don't you? Until next time, Brother Rhymes, Lowndes County, Judicial and Administrative Building. We asking the question, what will our children, what will we say to our children? And when our children ask us, Mama, Daddy, how many black judges are on the Southern Judiciary? When go ask the Georgia Bar Association, how many black judges, I repeat, how many black judges are on the Georgia Bar Association, on the Southern Judiciary here in South Georgia? I think there needs to be a change. What about you? Until next time, Brother Rhymes, KBCI.blogspot.com. Just keeping it real, because I truly, truly love you. Peace be unto you. May the Creator forever shine in your presence.